Hello Pokemon Masters! Pokemaster Spuck here, welcoming you to this new channel where I'll be showing you Pokemon Challenge playthroughs. Starting with this hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Yellow using only Water Type Pokemon. This video is part of a goal to have a video on YouTube of every Monotype hardcore Nuzlocke run of a mainline Pokemon game. The link to that is in the description. The video will cover the Yellow Water run, which there are 16 encounters, 15 of which are available in the run. Water type encompasses 32 of the original 151 Pokemon, second most common just behind Poison. Of these 15 available encounters, 7 require the Glitter Super Rod acquired after getting the Pokeflute from Mr. Fuji in Lavender Town, and 4 require Surf, which is obtained and usable after Koga's Gym Badge. Seal is found only in the Seafoam Islands, and we have to get to Cinnabar to revive a fossil Pokemon, which there's only one available, since you can only choose one fossil in Mount Moon. This leaves our choices of the Gifts Pokemon Lapras, Vaporeon, Gyarados, and Blastoise, which Lapras is not obtained until after Slivco, so I ruled it out, only one of which you can choose in Mount Moon. This leaves, of the possible 15 encounters, 4 possible starters. We have Lapras, Eevee, which follows the Vaporeon, Magikarp, and Squirtle. I rolled out Lapras because it's not obtained until after the end of Slivco. I rolled out Eevee because it's not a water type and therefore goes against the spirit of the challenge and isn't obtained until Celadon. I rolled out Magikarp because the first level cap is level 12 and Magikarp is only learned Splash and cannot face a rock type gym with only Splash. So that left Squirtle to be my starter. And so using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, I changed the starting Pokemon to Squirtle to start my run. Alright, so let us begin. So there's Professor Oak, welcome to the world of Pokemon. He's pretty cool guy. I named myself Splash for this challenge, as that is a water type thing, and I named my rival Gary. You would think Professor Oak would know his own grandson's name, but I actually named my rival Drought, not Gary. Grab the potion from the PC and head out to the wild to see what I can see. Of course, Professor Oak stops me, and we encounter our Squirtle. That is going to be our Pokemon later, and he catches it for us. And we head back into his Pokemon lab, and we get the whiny guy Drought, then steals our potential Pokemon. We don't want that Eevee anyway, because it is just a normal type. So I name Squirtle Drizzle, and we face our rival for the first time. Now, Eevee does get stab boost from all of its moves, but we managed to take it out with some luck that he didn't utilize his tackles enough. So while we play Courier for Professor Oak, let's go over the rules for this challenge. Nuzlocke rules: if we faint, it's death, and we have to permanently box the Pokemon. We can only catch the first water type Pokemon on each route, and no duplicates. So if we catch one on a certain route, we can't catch another one. And we can't have to nickname all Pokemon. And the hardcore rules: we can't use any items in battle, no leveling past the next gym leader or Elite Four's ace at the start of battle, and we play on set mode at all times. So, after playing the Courier for Professor Oak, I'm preparing for my next challenge. Now, the way the rival works in this game is he gets an Eevee, and his Eevee will evolve based on the first few battles. It'll evolve into Vaporeon if the first battle is lost. The player loses first battle. It'll evolve into Flareon if the player only wins the first battle. and it'll evolve into Jolteon if the player wins both. So since I won the first battle, I decided to go up against him again to give myself more of a challenge. I got my Squirtle up to level 9 for this, and I used Bubble. But because Bubble is only 20 power for this run, in this game, it takes 4 hits, or 6 hits of Bubble to take out the Spearow, and I take a good chunk of damage, almost bring down half. But what makes matters worse is I've taken 4 defense drops between Spearow's Leer and Eevee's Tail Whip. So the Eevee does take me out and ends my first run. So I have to reset as per the rules, and you go into attempt 2. Again, I name my Squirtle Drizzle. I name myself the same in this, and again I go into my rival fight. Now, technically, the Nuzlocke rules have not yet activated. They don't activate until we get the availability to buy Pokeballs. Play the Courier again, level up Drizzle, this time skipping the second rival battle because my rival will have Vaporeon this time, and I consider that to be enough of a challenge. So I battle the required trainers and head to Brock. Now, because Drizzle is a Water Type Pokemon and he has Bubble, Bubble makes easy work of Brock's Pokemon, getting me the first badge, the Boulder badge. And the level cap does increase to level 21 for Misty. I go through all of Route 3 where Drizzle evolves, and I get my second encounter, Magikarp. I consider going back through and doing some switch training with Magikarp, trying to increase its level, but I ended up going through Mount Moon and facing the required trainers there, while attempting switch training with Magikarp and Drizzle. Now, I did break the rules here, but I'll pay for that later, with Magikarp going down to about half on the switch. This switch, I think. No, actually, no, that's the next one. I will pay for it later. And I'm preparing for the first Jesse and James fight, where I skipped that Zubat. And then on this, I did change the settings. I had forgotten to do that. And here we go. I took out the Ekans, relatively easy with Water Gun, but trying to conserve some Water Gun PP. I never healed after the switch training. I used 2, and then coughing, it needs 2 Water Guns and 2 Bubbles to take down. So Team Rocket blasts off for the first time. Now, after some debate, I decided to continue on to Celadon, while still having my Magikarp at level 10, grabbing the rare candy, and going into the rival. So I take out the Super Nerd, utilizing True Switch Training, which is not allowed, but I take out this Super Nerd Voltorb, who doesn't have an electric type move. It's not really scary at this point in the game. And I take out his coughing, with doing some switch training for this also. So Water Gun is a 2-hit, nope, a 3-hit, due to missing the range a couple times. So preparing for Jesse and James at the end, I do make sure I fix the settings and go back to set mode for this fight, trying to switch train Drip while also keeping the rules that I have established for myself. So I take out Ekans, is a true 2-hit KO with Water Gun. I am running out of PP due to not stopping back at the Pokemon Center. I switch to Drip for more XP. Meowth does about half on the switch, so I can't switch back for coughing. Water Gun does about half, but to conserve PP, I decide to do Bubble for 2 more attacks, and taking out the Meowth. Now, not being able to switch back for fear of losing the Magikarp, I go for just keeping the Drizzle and 2 Water Guns and 2 Bubbles, take out the coughing for the first time. Team Rocket blasts off. Now, at this point, I try to decide whether I should go back and switch train Magikarp more or continue on Celadon, but I decide the latter and continue on the Celadon without having a fully trained up Magikarp that is only at level 10 at this point. So I go and face my rival, again attempting to switch train Magikarp as I go, who's only at level 10. I start with Magikarp, switch into Wartortle at level 18. So 3 Water Guns does take out Spearow. As Sandshrew comes out, I switch back into Magikarp to try and get more XP, but Sandshrew's Scratch does basically half, and I won't be able to switch back again. Water Gun misses the range, and Bubble has to do the 2-hit KO on the Sandshrew. We do get level 11 for Magikarp, but 2 Water Guns will take out Rattata, and we're about less than half health for Wartortle. Water Gun is a 4-hit KO, but luckily we get a crit, and we get through the Sand Attack next attack and didn't lose anyone. That was a little scary with the still stab normal moves from Eevee. But luckily I take out the rival, Drought, and I take out the first 2 trainers on Nugget Bridge without much issue. Still switch trading the Magikarp, and now we are the 3rd youngster. Again, switch trading starting with Drip. Alright, so we're gonna reset. So we go to the 3rd youngster on the Nugget Bridge. We do some switch training again. Rattata misses his Hyper Fang, and Water Gun is almost a 1-hit. He hits the Hyper Fang for minimal damage, and the second Water Gun hits. We switch back into Drip, who gets Poison Stinged for little. Switch back to Drizzle, who takes a Poison Sting, hits a Water Gun for about half, but the second Poison Sting poisons, which, unbeknownst to me, is crucial. Zubat comes out next and confuses our Magikarp. We switch back, he takes chip damage from Leech Life and Poison, hits the Water Gun for about half, but Zubat lands Supersonic. We can then hit ourselves in confusion once, twice, and get a crit, and now a 3rd time, and Wartortle goes down. This is essentially a run ender because there's nothing we can do with Magikarp to beat this trainer, being only level 12 and knowing Splash. So this is going to be our 2nd reset of the attempts. So we will go back to the start and try again, trying to avoid the mistake of wiping with a level 12 Magikarp. So Zubat will get the last attempt in, and we will go back to Professor Oak, restarting our run, and this time I name myself Aqua, being a little different than before, trying to change things up and change our attitude for the run. We name our rival Sand this time, as that is obviously the opposite of water, and Squirtle this time is named Wave. In the first rival battle, I intentionally lose, taking only dealing damage to not dealing no damage to Eevee, only except for once, using Tail Whip, so that he'll have his Vaporeon later. I go up against Brock once again, this time getting a crit on Bubble, taking Geodude out in 1 hit, and also gets a crit, level, and Onyx delays us a little bit with Bind, but then we finally break through Bind and hit Bubble for also a 1-hit crit. And on level 3, once again, Wave evolves into Wartortle, and we get Magikarp on the Route 4 Pokemon Center. This time, however, I decided to do something completely different. With Magikarp, I take him back through some of the trainers on Route 3. Not all of them, because I was saving some for later. But really, we go back to Viridian Forest, through Pewter City, down into Viridian Forest, and finding a Metapod. Now, Metapod only has 1 move, that is Harden, and Magikarp also only has 1 move. Neither of them do anything, so I waste all of Magikarp's PP on a Metapod, and then find more Metapods, and take them out with Struggle, so that I keep Wave's experience low, but while also training up Magikarp. this time named Tide. So, finding metapods and then using potions to contend the struggle damage. I use all my potions, buy some more with the money from Route 3, and eventually level up Tide, the Magikarp, to level 15 to get Tackle, fight the rest of the trainers in Viridian Forest. This took a long time, so I cut through most of the grinding there for you. But we finally did it, and then go through Mount Moon, taking out a good majority of the trainers. So Tide is now level 15, while Wave, you can see here, is only level 18. So keeping both low, I make my way through Mount Moon and head now to Route 4 to finish up the training, since Tide has Tackle, level him up to 20, and get him to evolve at level 20 into a Gyarados. Gyarados is a much better option. You can see those stats increase a lot. I start taking out the gym trainers in Misty's gym, and then this Goldeen is a pushover, and then face the rival in Celadon right before Nugget Bridge. Gyarados is a much better Pokemon, taking out the Spearow in one hit, Sandshrew in two, with Bite, Rattata in one hit, and Eevee in 2 hits from Bite. I do switch to Wave to get some experience on this battle. He is able to take it out with a Tackle and Water Gun, so I can split the experience a little bit, so I don't get Gyarados too over leveled, so I can't face the trainers on Nugget Bridge. Now with my level 20 and Pokemon, I'm able to take out the trainers, no problem. That youngster, you're the bane of my life in the previous run, is no problem at all. Now with both Pokemon approaching the level cap of 21 for Misty, I take out the trainers that I can, teach Tide Water Gun, move on to Route 25, take out the trainers there while switching between the Pokemon, splitting the experience as much as possible to get to the level cap of Misty. Now Misty uses water types just like we do, so I get my Pokemon up to the level cap, switch into Gyarados while Misty uses Next Defend. So Bite becomes, instead of a 2-hit KO, now a 3-hit KO, but the Staryu does minimal damage to me. So with Gyarados, with the X Defend, Bite becomes a 2-hit KO. Both Pokemon get to level to 22, which is allowed within the rules. They just have to be at or below the level cap before the battle. They can level up over. Bite is a 4-hit KO thanks to a crit on the Starmie with the X Defend and Hardened. Now I have the TM for Bubble Beam, which I use also on Tide. His special is ridiculous in this gen, replacing the useless Splash for Bubble Beam. I finish up Route 25 and make my way to Bill, changing him back from a Pokemon into a human with his little machine. Not sure how that happened, but he managed to do it every single generation that he's here. So somehow he's able to do it. He's a smart guy. We get the SSN ticket, and we take out the Rocket Grunt behind this house in Cerulean, which holds the key to beating our 3rd gym of Surge. He has stolen the TM for Dig, and we obtain it with our level cap of 28. Now I teach Dig to Wave, as he is the only water type Pokemon in this game that can learn a ground type move. Actually, both ground type TMs he can learn, so I teach him Dig. I get the Old Rod, I get the Vermilion, and get the Old Rod from this gentleman, which is useless because you can only catch Magikarp. So I go to the SSN, clear out some trainers, get to level 23, and face the rival once again. Bite, once again, is a ridiculous move against his Pokemon. I one-shot or two-shot pretty much everything he has, and including his Eevee. I get cut from the captain after rubbing his back. So I can now challenge Lieutenant Surge and his single Pokemon of Raichu. Now, Lieutenant Surge only has Raichu because of the anime. But before I do that, I had to Route 6 to do some last-minute training to get to the level cap. So, leading off with Wave, I do start with Dig. Raichu only lands 2 growls before he goes down with my ground type move. So I now obtain the Thunder Badge. And head to Rock Tunnel, making my way there, and getting our next encounter of Eevee, which I name Rain. So we face off against Surge after getting some levels on Route 6. He only has a Raichu, and I go with Wave. He lands a Growl. I hit with Dig, doing 2/3. He lands another Growl, and then I take him out with the next Dig, landing us our 3rd badge, the Thunder Badge, and increasing our level cap to Erica's level cap of 32. Heading back through Route 6 and the Rock Tunnel, through Lavender Town, I end up in Celadon City and get our 3rd encounter, that being the Eevee Rain, which I evolve into Vaporeon immediately. So, with our 3rd encounter in hand, I take out some trainers in Erica's gym and get the Fly HM for my HM Pokemon and head towards the Rocket Hideout. Now, in Rocket Hideout, I take out this front guard who has Eradicate and a Zubat very easily with Tide, who's at level 29. And in Rocket Hideout, I press the button behind this poster, opening up the hideout. But this hideout has our first unfortunate party member, Rain, going down to Team Rocket, Jesse and James, to its Ekans. I was trying to level it up in preparation for Erica's gym, but unfortunately, Rain falls, having our first death of the run. So I take Wave against Giovanni, who is no problem at all. Water Gun 1 hits everything, and the only one left is Persian, who has very little in the terms of damage, doing very minimally. So Water Gun misses the range in the last hit, but is a 4-hit KO for Giovanni. Then, after Giovanni, I get the Sliff Scope in preparation for Lavender Town, and I head to the Pokemon Center to deposit Rain, our first death, into the box. Decided to take on Erica for our 4th gym badge. She sends out Tangela, which is why, oh why, I wanted Gyarados, who has a type neutrality to the grass type of this gym. He takes out the Tangela and the Weepinbell, and Gloom, who has Petal Dance. Petal Dance is very minimal too, and takes it out for our 4th gym badge, increasing our level cap now to 50, which is both Koga and Sabrina's level cap. I head back to Lavender Town and take on the rival, who we have a significant level advantage to. Technically, the rival should have been done immediately upon arriving to Lavender, but we did him after, which is fine. So Wave has an easy go of the Fearow, and then the Vulpix barely misses the KO on that. Magnemite he can take out with Dig, who does not know any electric type moves yet. And Sandshrew, again with Water Gun, is a one-shot, and his last Pokemon is still an Eevee, hasn't evolved yet, and Bite does about a quarter, Water Gun does about a third, another Water Gun doesn't quite get the KO, and then a 4th will take him out. So we've beaten the rival now again, and go through the Pokemon Tower to the Ghost, which is the Marowak, take it out with 2 Water Guns, and get ready to face Jesse and James at the top once again. So, here comes Jesse and James again. This is now the third time seeing them. They lead off this time with Meowth. Bite is a 2-hit from Wave. Arbok now comes out. I made the mistake of going with Bite and not Dig, so I get paralyzed. So now the rest of the battle gets a little dicey, with him getting fully paralyzed on a Dig turn, but able to take him out on the next one. He does get paralyzed a few times against Weezing, now fully evolved, but Dig is a 2-shot, but I choose to go with Bite to avoid the possibility of paralysis on the second turn. And Wave evolves at the end of this. So now we have a Blastoise, fully evolved Blastoise for our Wave. With the Pokeflute in hand, we can go and take out the Snorlax that is blocking the way. We get the Good Rod, the Super Rod from just below this. Tide is able to easily handle Snorlax with just a few bites, and we get the Super Rod in hand. We can start to go and land some encounters. We find a Poliwag in Viridian City, who we catch and name Mist. Poliwag has 2 moves currently, Bubble and Hypnosis, and we take him to Route 11 to do some training. Against the Sandshrew, however, we put him to sleep, which is nice in Gen 1 because it takes a turn to wake up. We hit him with Bubble, and even with the crit, does very minimal. And then Sandshrew wakes up, lands a crit slash, and Mist dies. So our second death of the run is in hand. Then we, outside of Vermilion City, we get another encounter, that being a Tentacool. We catch it and name it Acid Rain. Then we catch a Horsey on Route 11 and name it Spray. We also catch an Shelder on Route 12, which I didn't record, and a Staryu on Route 19, just below Fuchsia. So, with these encounters in hand, a Shelter named Ocean, we head into the Safari Zone. Hook a Dratini first, but then we end up finding a Goldeen that we name Shower, and send it to our box. There are many Pokemon that we don't end up using. We go through and get the Surf HM for finding the secret house, and we teach Surf to all of our Pokemon, as it's the best move in the game. We bring the Warden his Golden Teeth, get the HM for Strength, and teach it to Wave, which replaces Bite, as it is a stronger physical move, and train up Spritz the Staryu to level 27 to get Recover, and then use a Water Stone to evolve it into a Starmie. Spritz the Starmie is going to be the MVP of the run. We take out the trainers on Cycling Road, which are weak to Psychic, using the Psychic TM, and we clear out all of Slivco, leveling up our team in the process. So then we face the rival in Slivco, leading with now Tentacruel, Acid Rain our Tentacruel. We got the evolution there, but didn't record it. And Spritz the Starmie. So, after clearing out Slivco, I decided to fight the rival in Sylph, leading off with my Tentacruel. Switch into Wave, who still has the ground move. Thundershock does get the full paralysis, but he managed to take him out with a Dig. Switch with the paralysis back into Acid Rain for the Surf. and take out the Ninetales. And also, I switch to the Tide for the Kadabra, who could take him out in a single bite. So now that leaves the Vaporeon, which I switch into Spritz, who I taught the Thunderbolt TM from Lieutenant Surge, as he has a high special attack and can learn it. And in Sylph, now I get my next party member, replacing the Horsey with this nice little Sylph employee. Gives me a Lapras that I name Big Blue. So my party is almost complete, but now I face the Team Rocket at Jesse and James once again leading with Acid Rain, who was able to basically one-shot everything with a single Surf, and they blast off for the last time. And I'm ready to face Giovanni, whose team really isn't much different. He leads off with Nidorino, who goes down in a single Surf, then Persian, also a single Surf, and Rhyhorn again with a single Surf, and Nidoqueen with a crit Surf, which probably wasn't needed, and Giovanni now is defeated for the second time. I get the Master Ball from the President, which will never be used, since there's no water Pokemon that really need it. Decided to fight Koga. I am underleveled, but I feel like Spritz has it in hand with Psychic. Koga, all he has is 3 Venonats and a Venomoth. So with stuff complete, we go to Koga, severely underleveled, but actually it's not that bad, with Spritz being a Psychic type and having the stab move Psychic, and Koga only having 3 Venonats and a Venomoth. He takes out the first 3 Venonats, no problem, with their increasing levels, and even his level 50 Venomoth falls to just a single Psychic. So, Koga is down, which allows me to use Surf outside of battle, and opens up our last few encounters. So on Route 13, I catch a Slowpoke, and you can see my Shelter named Ocean. I name Slowpoke Drip, since I haven't used that this run yet, and he ends up in the box. I head to Route 7 and catch a Psyduck, and name him Downpour. And I'll never use him too. I forgot a fishing encounter, and I went to Route 25 to find a Krabby, and I nickname him Pool. And I head to Cinnabar and revive the fossil Omnimite, which I chose in Mount Moon. And then I head to Seafoam Islands and catch a seal. I named the seal Hail, and I had named the Omnimite H2O. So, with my team now set, I head to Erica with my team basically at her level cap, and with her Abra, Bite from Tide is a 1-hit, Kadabra takes 2, and Alakazam leads off with a Recover, then an X-Defend makes Bite a 3-hit KO. It would have been if it wasn't for the other Recover. He lands a Psychic, but does not get the KO, and I take down Sabrina for the Marsh Badge, and Omnimite evolves. Our level cap goes up to 54 for Blaine, and we head there straight away with Omnimite evolving into Omastar before the battle. Surf is a 1-hit KO on all of Blaine's Pokemon, save for the Arcanine, but he doesn't heal, and now we have the Volcano Badge, and our last Gym Leader level cap of 55. So, we do use Fire Blast on our Gyarados, which will come in handy a little later. We also used a Hyper Beam TM on him, getting rid of Bubble Beam, which we already have coverage for with Surf. So after this, we head to Viridian City for our last gym badge in our final battle with Giovanni, who styles himself as the greatest trainer. So Doug Trio uh, goes down with a single uh, Bubble Beam. Hyper Beam takes out Persian. 2 Bubble Beams take out the Nidoqueen, who does have an electric move. Looks a little scary, but Surf crits the Nidoking, and Rhydon is last. And not to worry, Surf is a one-hit KO, getting us the Earth badge and increasing our level cap once again. So with our level cap now at 62, I say goodbye once and for all to Giovanni, who disappears and disbands Team Rocket, and I head to face our rival once again. We didn't do any leveling for this because we should be able to take him, but I decide to lead off with Tentacruel for this fight, as his first Pokemon is going to be Sand Slash. So Surf easily handles the Sand Slash. Ice Beam from Tentacruel handles the Execute. I do Surf and barely take out the Magneton. Probably missed a range there. Gets fully paralyzed, but does take the last hit. And then decide to switch to Lapras for its debut. Nope, to Spritz, actually. Who surfs the Lapras, surfs the Kadabra, ends up recovering prematurely, but Surf is doing more damage than the Kadabra and gets a crit. And then Thunderbolt does paralyzes the Vaporeon on the first hit and gets a crit for the KO, and defeating Sand for the second to last time of this run. So with our level cap of 62, here are our Pokemon. Big Blue the Lapras, that's Ice Beam, Thunder, Body Slam, and Surf. Wave the Blastoise with Surf, Dig, Earthquake, and Strength. Spritz the Starmie with the moves Psychic, Surf, Recover, and Thunderbolt. Acid Rain the Tentacruel, that has Mega Drain, Toxic, Surf, and Ice Beam. Tide the Gyarados, that has Surf, Fire Blast, Hyper Beam, and Bite. And H2O, our Amistar, with Water Gun, Reflect, Blizzard, and Surf. So this is the key team we're taking to the Elite Four, starting with Lorelei. Lorelei is an Ice type trainer, which we resist, but they also, a lot of them are water types, so we're going to be leading off with, she leads with Dugong, and we lead off with Spritz, who is able to Thunderbolt the Dugong, who only Bubble Beams, does minimal, and the second Thunderbolt crits and takes it out. Next up is Cloyster, who has much lower special defense, so Thunderbolt takes it out in one hit. Slowbro is next, and we have a Thunderbolt that does most of its health. Lorelei does a secondary Super Potion, but another Thunderbolt takes it out. Then Surf does a good chunk of damage to Jinx and takes it out with 2 hits. Next is Lapras, who goes down to 2 Thunderbolts. Lorelei was fairly easy with our resistance to all of her moves. Next up is Bruno, who has a fighting and rock type specialist, who should go down very easily to our water Pokemon, particularly since Spritz is a psychic type Pokemon also. So, against Bruno, we again, as he leads off with his Onix, we lead off with Spritz, not even changing our team, and Surf the Onix for a one-hit KO. He sends out his Hitmonchan, who does have a Thunder Punch, but Psychic takes him out in one hit. Next up is Hitmonlee, who also falls to a Psychic in one hit. Then comes his next Onix, who can do no better than the first, falling to a single Surf. And lastly, his Machamp, who once again falls to a single Psychic. Spritz is single-handedly demolishing the Elite Four. Granted, the level cap of 62 is very helpful in that regard. Next up is Agatha, who has a team of Ghost/Poison types, pretty much solely Poison types, leading off with Gengar. Spritz, Psychic, again, even with Gengar's high special, takes it out in a single hit. Agatha then sends out Golbat, which falls to a single Thunderbolt. Haunter is next, who falls to a Psychic. Arbok is 5th, who falls to another Psychic. And lastly is Gengar at level 60, who still falls to a single Psychic. Once again, Spritz has soloed an Elite Four member. This Pokemon is pretty ridiculous. So next up is the... Oops. So lastly for the Elite Four is, of course, Lance, the Dragon Master. I do mix up my team a little bit, leading off this time. Well, let's see. Lance is the Dragon Master, who was recently defeated. I lead off with Big Blue the Lapras with Thunder. Misses the first two. Misses the first three. Gyarados lands a Hyper Beam with a crit for more than half, but Thunder does get the KO. Finally. Then I switch to Ice Beam for the first Dragonair, killing it, taking it out with one hit. Then the second Dragonair, also with one hit. Out comes Aerodactyl, who uses a critical 30 power wing attack, but falls to a single Ice Beam. And lastly, Dragonite, who Big Blue outspeeds and lands the Ice Beam for the KO. Once again, soloing an Elite Four member. So, now we have just one battle left. With our champion. For our last battle against Sand. We send out Tide, leading off against the Sand Slash, who takes it out in one hit with Surf. Next comes Alakazam, who falls to a single Hyper Beam, which is physical in this generation. Executor is next, who falls to a single Fire Blast. Oh, who gets third with a single Fire Blast, but then falls to the second one, who did land the Leech Seed. Surf takes out the Ninetales with a crit, and Magneton, with its 4 times weakness, we switch out to Wave, who has, this time, Earthquake for the KO. Does land a Thunderbolt, but Earthquake does get most. We switch into Acid Rain for his high special, who is able to tank a Thunderbolt and get the KO with Surf. Which leaves one Pokemon, that is Vaporeon. So we switch into Spritz, our MVP, to finish out the battle. He uses Quick Attack for minimal damage and gets a crit. Thunderbolt, another Quick Attack with a crit, does nothing, and another Thunderbolt takes him out. And we have won, completing this run and becoming champion, showing that you can beat Pokemon Yellow using only water types. We did have 2 deaths, so we will remember Mist, the Poliwag, and Rain, our own Vaporeon, for their efforts, but we didn't really get to see them, nor did we get to see our other Pokemon that we caught and never used, because we have our MVP of Starmie and Gyarados. So, as Professor Oak enrolls our names into the PC for the Hall of Fame, we can remember, thank you Tide, thank you H2O, which had no appearances against either before, Spritz, our MVP, Big Blue, MVP against Lance, and Wave, our consummate companion through the entire thing. Acid Rain, you had your place. Great job, everyone. So, if you liked the video, you can give us a like and subscribe, and see you in our next video.